Hey Andy, I just wanted to talk through using the advanced query TCL script that will basically detect the maximum value of a given element selection as well as the ID that max value belongs to. So to start off, I'm just going to go ahead and mask some elements. So I'll just go ahead and click on a couple elements like so. So I'll just do a mask selected and do a reverse. Then I'll go into my contour panel and I'll choose element stresses and I'll set this to the stress tensor in X. So currently I have these elements selected. So if I run the script, if I go to File, Run TCL script, this TCL script is in here. So yeah, I'm just going to run this advanced query components, allpages.tcl. A cool thing about this tool is that you can have multiple pages open. So in other words, if I had 10 windows of Hyper-V open, it'll actually spit out 10 different inputs telling me the max value on all of those pages. So that's just a little tip if you wanted to have multiple windows of the same model open with different sections selected. That way you can just get them all at once as opposed to doing them all later. This is a way to do that. So I'm just going to click on this TCL script, and you can see at my bottom left it says CSV file successfully written, located in my documents folder. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to my documents folder. And if I open up this TCL or the CSV file, you can see that it tells me the max value as well as the element ID it belongs to. So that matches up with what I'm seeing. Maybe I opened up the wrong one. Yeah. Okay. So that's basically this script. The next thing I wanted to show was something called the Matrix Browser. So the Matrix Browser is a very useful tool to do some post-processing in Hyper-V. You can also use it in HyperMesh as well. So to get to the Matrix Browser, you have to first enter the HyperMesh environment. So I'm just going to create a third window here. And I'll set this application, instead of setting it to Hyperview, I'm going to set it to HyperMesh. So currently this window is the HyperMesh application. So if I go to Tools, I go to Matrix Browser. That will open up the Matrix Browser over here in my browser area. I can then click back to Hyperview, and I can now go to HV Data. I can go to Elements, and I can hit Query. I can then just grab a couple elements like so. If I hit Apply, you can see it populates a row of elements in my Matrix browser. So if I click on the header, if I click on the elements header, this allows me to query the results. So now if I go to results, I can go to multiple subcases, and then I can choose something like stress. So I can choose the stress and with the different tensors and hit query. So if I do that, that populates my Matrix browser with all these values. So I can spit this out directly into Excel by hitting Excel, and that'll generate an Excel spreadsheet with all of those values. The cool thing here is I can then input a value, or I can type in formulas, I mean. So I can type in, like something like resultant. So I can type in something like square root of maybe this column squared plus this column squared. And then I can just go ahead and populate the rest of these guys. So what's neat here is that I can save this as a CSV file. So I'll save it on my desktop. CSV file. Yes. Then I can go back into my Matrix browser, and I can go to File, Import CSV. and import that CSV file directly in. And you'll see that it added this additional formula that I wrote earlier into my matrix browser, and I can just add to my selection, and it'll update it based off of that formula. So pretty cool way to post-process. I think this kind of makes the query tool outdated. So personally, for me, I like to use the matrix browser to do most of my post-processing now. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to show you.